So then, I reckon we've nailed this tactic. Should we go into it? Why the hell not, yeah? Man City replication. Let's go.
Welcome to the Steve.
What's up, everyone? Have you had any sleep yet? Really? Have you had any sleep yet? Because I know I haven't. Look at the state of me. But we've done a Man City replication. I wanted to get as close to the way Pep plays as possible. The video is titled Play Like Pep, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do today. I say try. We won the quadruple. We're laughing. Now, first up, as a disclaimer, City, if you can't win things with them, you probably should give up the game because they are ridiculous. And I've got the guy up front who is the best on the game. I'm convinced. If you're not convinced of that, check out the video I released earlier on. So today's not about getting the best possible tactic as such, although it's done the business. You can see we only lost twice in the league. It's about getting the philosophy of the way Pep plays and getting the player roles, most importantly, into that system and firing. So like I said, I'm convinced that most people will be able to get a winning tactic with Man City, but it's about the teams you beat. If you beat good teams in it, you know you're onto something, and that's what we've done this season. This right here is a 36 game undefeated streak. You saw the teams we beat there, but no bigger than doing the double over Liverpool in the Champions League semi-final. Not only did we do the double, we battered them 5-1. So at this point, I know that this tactic is solid and really good because Liverpool are so good on FM and usually my nemesis. So now I'm pretty confident. It's all well and good beating teams 5 and 6-0, but when you can beat Liverpool over two legs, you know you're onto something. So the tactic breakdown is coming. Now, if you're new to the channel, I don't do downloads because I'm sick of people just jumping in, taking a tactic and toddling off. So the tactics all going to be here for you. The formation, the layout, the player roles, the team instructions, the player instructions. Just got to be a bit patient for me. Now, if you saw the Haaland video from earlier today, you'll know that he scored a bucket load of goals, which is no surprise. He could score a bucket load of goals in any team. I don't think the striker role in this setup is the most important. The others are just as or more so. Right, folks, welcome to this City replication in FM23. Now, I did one of these very recently in FM22, and some things have changed quite a bit. They can see what I was doing. It was based on the game against West Ham, so it was right at the start of the season. So I was laying it on the line on the way they were playing against West Ham and the City average positions. So there's some key ones that have changed in there. Noticeably, the striker role has changed, the two midfield roles have changed, one of the fullback roles have changed, and the two wider guys have changed as well. So same setup as in formation, but a lot of different roles and a few different player instructions as well. But this is it. This is the FM23 version of Play Like Pep. Now, you've seen what you can do in game. It's lethal and it's so fluid and fun to watch. Let's have a look. So keeper and defence, Ederson as a sweeper keeper, and that will come more apparent when you see the out of possession. Two central defenders. Now, they're not ball players because in FM, the ball playing defenders tend to ping it long and high and miss out a lot of the midfield, whereas City, these guys will just play it simple to the guy in front of them, or the central midfielders, or the wing backs either side. So that's why we keep it like that. Inverted wing back on one side is João Cancelo. Seen him all season in every game I've watched, bombing forward, getting into these pockets higher up the park. And on the other side is the big change from the first tactic I did. Instead of being inverted wing back, Kyle Walker will be a wing back on support. As I've watched City this year, it looks like Pep's realised that he's not massively comfortable trying to replicate Cancelo on the other side, so he does offer a bit more width while sitting inside as well, which his player instructions will cover. Into midfield, we're going to have Rodri sat in front of the back two. I call it a back two because I don't see the wing backs as defenders, and he'll sit there covering when they bomb forward and laying it off easily to the guys in front of him. In front of him, this role here is earmarked for De Bruyne. Now, last time I had him in Mazzala, but I felt that restricted him too much and he was drifting too wide too often. So now with some key PIs, he's now a central midfielder on attack. And if you've seen City this year in real life, a lot of the time he spends a lot of the time high up with Haaland. Next to him, advanced playmaker, a role earmarked for Bernardo Silva. I toyed with roaming playmaker, but I was finding he was getting too deep in game, so advanced playmaker was absolutely ideal. And he came up clutch with over 20 assists. Now the attack. Now the two wide players are a big change from my last replication. Last time I had both of them, left and right, as advanced playmakers, but I was finding that they weren't getting advanced enough, so I wanted to flip it a bit. Inverted winger on one side on support, which was earmarked for Grealish. He's more of a support role, does a lot of work running up and down, but laying it off as well, not shooting as much. On the other side, we've got a role earmarked for Phil Foden, more aggressive, gets into the box more, toyed with an inside forward, but I do want him to have that winger capabilities as well. Up front, obviously, it's Erling Haaland's role. As an advanced forward, he does break the lines, which we needed big time. Quite often he finds himself out wide as well. Thinking back to balls he's supplied in for Foden. I did toy with different roles, such as a poacher or a complete forward. We'll get into that later on. We went with an advanced forward, and it worked out absolutely perfectly. So we'll start with in possession, and remember the mentality, it's Man City. We're always going to start with that positive mentality. Width fairly wide. Sometimes when you can't break a team down, by the way, go wide, because that's exactly what City do. But we start with fairly wide, so it's a good balanced approach. We're going to go underlap right. Remember who's in that midfield position breaking through there? That's De Bruyne. So they've got the underlap there for him to burst into, because City don't usually use overlaps anymore. Playing out of defence, so nice and patient play from there. Shorter passing. Tempo can be subjective. I've gone with slightly higher. Occasionally when we're away from home, dominating the match, and well in lead, I will drop it down to lower. But we always start with slightly higher. We always work ball into the box. Whipped crosses to try and take advantage of Haaland and be more expressive, because the creative players are of an ability to be able to handle that. That's your in possessions. Now in transition, we're going to play it short to the fullbacks and centre backs. We start building from there basically. Got counter press and counter. City relentless. When they lose the ball, they try and win it back. 3, 4, 5 of them sometimes. Goalkeeper possession is Ederson, asking him to distribute quickly. We'll only knock that off when we're trying to shore up a match and see it out. Now out of possession, we can see City with the much higher defensive line and the high press. So that is super aggressive. We try to win the ball back in them zones there, and win it back. It does leave you quite susceptible to that ball over the top, and that's why we have Ederson as that sweeper keeper to sweep up. Defensive line, alongside the much higher defensive line, we are stepping up more. So in this year's FM, that basically means you're trying to play for the offsides as well. We're triggering the press more often. If we're really in the hunt and getting aggressive, we can push that up to more often. But we start with that formation and set up there. That is the setup, crew. That is the setup, the roles, the formation, and the team instructions. Player instructions will be at the end of the video. I just want to talk through a few little tweaks that I made in certain games. So think like Liverpool away, I wouldn't start as aggressive. I would change the out of possession and just drop that down one. It's not a big change. It's not a big change, but that's just one I did against teams like Liverpool. And sometimes in the same type of game, Cancelo there from attack would drop to support. So not as crazy going forward. Just that to see what the game's working out like. And the only other change I really did was with Haaland up here as the advanced forward. I started off as a complete forward. I like it, but he gets a lot more involved in the game, but I wanted him really high up, and that's why I changed with that advanced forward. But in certain games away from home, Inter away and Liverpool away come to mind, I did use him as a complete forward, just so he dropped off and linked up the play a little bit better. If we started to dominate, I would then switch him back to the advanced forward, because we didn't need him dropping in them holes. If we were really dominating against teams that are really weak, and I don't need him to link up as such, drop him into the poacher role so he operates within the box and just finishes off chances. So before the play instructions, I'll leave you some key metrics and shows how well the team did play. Games scored in a row, they just score in every game. Other than the first game of the season, I think. Haven't lost in an absolute age. We're scoring loads, winning loads of headers, which I really love. And the one I really do enjoy, chances created and the cross completion, because I experimented with whipped crosses this year for the first time and it's really helped. Shots per game's up there, and the final third passes against just shows that just second to Liverpool in that. Really good all-round team performance. Love that tactic. I love that tactic. Will it transfer to other teams? I don't know. I'm going to give it a go. I'm doing a sporting save on this very YouTube actually, and I might use elements of it there. But the key thing in with tactics that you find work, you can then use that tactic to build others off it. So that's what we're going to do. Player instructions on the way now. Cheers for hanging out. I'll see you soon.